ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is, what would we describe it? Cloudy, overcast Thursday with just a little drizzle in the air, but apparently more rain coming over the next 3 or 4 days. A lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Let's go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
So we're going to learn in the update that Aaron Rodgers has departed his Osama bin Laden cave and is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, everybody knew that. I mean, I can't believe he's doing it this soon, though. I figured he would hold out a little bit more. He had him hostage. I mean, let's be honest. He did.
You've thought that all along. So let me ask this question. Okay. In the world that we're in right now, he's won one Super Bowl with the Packers, and that's been well over a decade ago. The general public, for the most part, views him in his past as a terrific passer, an extremely good NFL quarterback, a royal pain in the butt, and a complete diva. Anything about that not really true?
I don't know that, George. I mean, you seem to know that.
Sure,
I'm not sure.
Sure,
no,
you do.
I don't. But like, there's guys that have these personas about him, and I don't know. He's different. He's a different guy. There's no question. But I'm a different guy too. I'm weird about things too, and I kind of like some of the things. Now, I don't know as a teammate how he is. You hear things, but you don't truly know. I'm not in the locker room with him. I would have loved to have been in the locker room with him, but the guy. I've said this before, and I know people out there listening. I know they're probably going to disagree with me, but he doesn't have the Super Bowls, which kind of bothers me a little bit because he had some NFC Championship games in Green Bay and he lost them. He had plenty of opportunities to go back to the Super Bowl and try to win another one, but like talent-wise, he's right up there with them, man. He can throw the ball off either foot. He's got a cannon. I don't know, but everybody knew that he was going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that's been a foregone conclusion. That's why they've got a bunch of young guys up there. They let Russell Wilson go. Justin Fields is gone, I think, isn't he? So they had to do something, and he's got them hostage. Like, I can't believe he's signing this soon. Because I've told y'all, that's when you get to how long he's played, how long I had played, I hated training camp. I don't know, and it's not even bad anymore. I'm sure guys don't hate it like I did, but when I first started out, it was 5 weeks, George, of training camp, and I was so miserable. That was with the Indianapolis Colts, Lindy and Fonnie, going to Anderson, Indiana, and it was awful. So it's so much easier now, but when you get 20 years into the league, you hate training camp. You just don't want to go. You don't want to do it. You just want to start playing ball, and I can't believe he's done it this early, but I wonder what is Terry Bradshaw? Has he rapped something about it?
Oh, I don't know, but I want to throw a theory at you, which was where I was leading you before you took me to a different ballpark. So we know all these things. Great talent, won a Super Bowl, going to end up in the Hall of Fame. The negatives are people view him as a royal pain in the butt and kind of a diva. But at the end of his career, and the Steelers, given their defense, would be capable of this if he had a Green Bay Aaron Rodgers kind of year. What would a Super Bowl championship, or for that matter, even close to a Super Bowl run, do for his, I don't know, because he's going to get in the Hall legacy. He's going to get in the Hall no matter what. But wouldn't this do something pretty good for his legacy?
I think it would help him. I think people have, just like me, a sour taste because he's like I said, he's had opportunities to go back. He won it against the Steelers that one time, and everybody thought that they were going to have multiple years with them winning the Super Bowl, and it just never happened. And I think the guy's ultra talented. I really do. I don't know how ultra talented he is anymore. He can still throw the football. I could still throw the football as well at 50, almost 52. So. I think it would cement a little bit more. I think people think he is a Hall of Famer, but he's kind of right on that cusp. But Dan Marino's in the Hall of Fame and never won a Super Bowl, and it was a little different. It was a little different time, but I think he's there in the Hall of Fame. But if he did that, I think it would definitely cement his place in the Hall of Fame.
Hello, Billy.
Hello, George.
Guess I stole a piece of your update, didn't I?
You did. I'm with Kelly. Though he's jumping into mandatory minicamp next week. It looks like, or maybe if not next week, in a couple weeks, which surprises me a little bit. But our update is brought to you by X Golf. The big day is tomorrow out in Franklin at 209 South Royal Oaks. The grand opening of the Franklin location will be there. Hope to see you out there and experience the future of golf, the most accurate golf simulator. Book a tee time at playxgolf.com. All right. So you just heard it there. Aaron Rodgers plans to sign with the Steelers, plans to fly to Pittsburgh this week and participate in the mandatory minicamp next week. He's been linked with the Steelers throughout the offseason, obviously, especially after Russell Wilson and Justin Fields were let go. And something I didn't realize, if this follows through, this would set up a Week 1 rematch between Rodgers and the Jets, who will host the Steelers in their season opener, which I totally didn't realize.
Might be the most exciting thing the Jets have to look forward to.
Who's going to be the Jets quarterback? Do we know yet?
I guess it's Justin Fields.
Fields?
Yeah. It's what it looks like.
Some motivation for Fields. So Rodgers, again, with the Steelers, looks like it's not official yet, but looks like that will happen. College baseball super regionals get underway tomorrow, but the transfer portal has only been open for a few days. Another dumb timeline across college sports, but the accusations are already flying. East Carolina head coach Cliff Godwin has accused coaches at Power 4 schools of tampering with his players. Could you imagine? He said, "Our system is so broken," on Twitter. "We have coaches at Power 4 schools texting our players directly who are not in the portal yet, and we have proof."
Call them out. I don't need to hear that we have proof. Call them out.
I'm with you. And a lot of people have said that.
I mean, look, we know it's going on. We've known it's going on. This guy has not got breaking news. But now, if he were to name names, that's a different story. Because, look, the NCAA is gun shy right now to do anything. And we have a system, he's right, it's broken. But the general public just sort of, but if somebody said, okay, the coach from Cuba, this is what he texted our second baseman, and our second baseman allowed me to show this to the world. Now, that might be a different story.
Yeah, they don't seem to want to take that further step in calling coaches and
because he's probably doing it himself. You know, I mean, let's be honest. That's a lot of times why people don't want to turn other people in because, I'm doing a little shady stuff too. So if I call him out, then I'm going to get caught into the wave of this. So I just going to keep my mouth shut.
Well, and if he was still playing in a super regional, he probably wouldn't be acting like this. Probably a little frustration there after they lose to in-state rival Coastal Carolina in the Conway Regional. So, but that level, you can still win in baseball at that level, though. I know there's probably some frustration, but look at Coastal. Look at Murray State and UTSA and Wright State, and those coaches are proving that you can win at that level in college baseball. So,
It's been a weird tournament so far.
Gosh, it has.
And you know,
But back on the other thing, look, we've all known it's going on. And part of the way it goes on is that players get asked by coaches to help with it. At the end of football games, when they shake hands, I mean, I know of one right off the bat where a player on one SEC team said to a player on another SEC team, "We're interested. Stay tuned."
Yeah, that's how they're doing it. I mean, and that's what's happening. When you recruit a kid and you were recruiting two kids from the same school and the other one goes to another place and the other kid comes to you, I'm sure the coach is always asking, is he liking it there? Is he liking it there? Tell him, hey, we're still interested in it, you know? And here's another thing too is like this coach talking, like these guys are kind of benefiting too, because now you're getting Power 4 players that are, you know, not playing at their schools and they're not getting any NIL money. They just want to go play baseball. So they're dropping down. They're going to the East Carolinas. They're going to, you know, the Murray states. They're going to the right states just to play baseball because they love the game. I don't, you know, you get the prima donnas in Power 4s that want their money, but then you got a certain group of guys that just want to play. I just want to play some baseball. I hadn't played in 2 years, 3 years. I just want to play. And that's happening everywhere. And I think some of these lower coaches are reaping the benefits of that.
Billy, more and more, I believe my whole idea of the committee of 8 to 10 great coaches types who really care about the game, who come away and issue here are the 5 points that we need changed in our world. Court system, shut up and let us straighten this out. Because that's part of the problem right now is every time there appears to be a solution or a possible solution, the courts step in and go, oh, it's restraint of trade.
Yeah.
I mean, they have made this virtually impossible, and they've sat up there in that ivory tower while they're wreaking havoc.
I don't know when it stopped. But,
I got going there, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
I also don't know when this Braves team is going to figure things out. The Diamondbacks
don't go there.
Scored 7 runs in the 9th inning to beat the Braves 11-10 and complete a series sweep. And I think we've reached DEFCON 5 here for the Braves. After the game, Tom Glavine, Hall of Fame pitcher, part of the broadcast crew, he said, if you were looking for rock bottom, this might be it.
So their closer, who was brilliant a year ago, Raisel Iglesias, has really struggled. And he's the anchor of a bullpen that's got a bunch of holes in it. What I think needs to be done, because Iglesias will figure this out eventually, but put him in some less stressful things. For a week, make him the 7th inning guy. Call up Craig Kimbrell. I don't know. I know this is becoming the summer of a Braves fan discontent, and it just keeps getting worse.
Well, maybe it gets better for the White Sox with a potential new owner down the road. Billionaire private equity investor Justin Ishbia is in line to be the next owner of the White Sox. Ishbia and current owner Jerry Reinsdorf have entered into a long-term agreement that could lead to Ishbia taking over the team as soon as 2029. You wonder?
Now, the problem is that his brother, Matt, owns the Phoenix Suns and has turned that thing into a dumpster fire.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So this has been in the works now for about 2 months. Justin Ishbia at one point looked like he had a deal to buy the Minnesota Twins and then backed out because all of a sudden Reinsdorf, who is either 89 or 90, said to him, hold on a second, big fella. And so this all happened. Who knows where any of this leads, but I hope it works for him because it's a great old franchise that deserves better than a 40-win season.
Oilers beat the Panthers last night in overtime, 4-3. Leon Draisaitl game winner. They rallied from being down 3-1 as the Panthers just sort of fell asleep at the wheel. It was an uncharacteristic collapse. This Panther team under Paul Maurice, they had won 31 straight playoff games when holding the lead at an intermission break. So,
Kelly, if this is any indication, this is going to be one hell of a series.
I know. I was flipping last night, and I flipped it on there, and I'm like, George is not happy right now. The Panthers are up, and I bet he's sweating it. They came back. I looked on, and I was like, wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of a miracle win. Game 2's tomorrow night in Edmonton.
Still
Final
say it's going
tonight.
7?
Yep.
Okay.
Going 7.
All right.
Okay.
Pacers Thunder tonight, game 1, 7:30 on ABC. The Thunder favored by 9.5. I think we'll have a play on that later. Also, St. John's coach Rick Pitino said he has zero interest in becoming head coach of the New York Knicks again. He said absolutely not during a broadcast of last night's game between the Yankees and the Guardians. He also had this to say about the job. I think whoever comes in, if he doesn't get to the finals, it's going to be deemed an unsuccessful season. So whoever comes in has got so much pressure on them to take this team to the next level, because that's why they're doing it, obviously, in their minds.
He also, I believe, said, Patrick Ewing is not walking through that door. I think he said that.
I think I heard that too.
Yeah.
And so he denies that he's going to go, so he'll probably end up being the new Knicks head coach.
I'll say this. Whoever takes that job is walking into a hornet's nest. Because when ownership says, with that roster, that only a championship will suffice, I don't know that that's being fair to Thibodeau. Now, you hear a lot of stuff about what went on that the players may have chirped, and I don't doubt that. But still, for a guy that just got fired, he did a hell of a job there.
That's what I got.
It's a good update. It had meat on the bone.
Some meat on that
Billy,
bone.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Thibodeau or Thibodeau? Because I've heard it 80 different ways.
I think it's
Which
Thibodeau.
one is it?
It's Thibodeau.
Okay. Just wondered.
I have heard Thibodeau, though. So
I've heard some people call him some other names. You remember
it's not
in
Thibodeau or
Minnesota,
Thibodeau.
well, you remember in Minnesota, he and Jimmy Butler got into it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Dante DiVincenzo got into it, I think, during that playoff series as well. DiVincenzo of the Pacers, right?
No, DiVincenzo
Or of the Knicks.
was a Knick a year ago
I'm saying-
and an incredibly popular
Oh, so
Knick.
that was last year. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw some clips of that.
Okay, after the break, the hardest working man in Nashville sports, that's Mike Organ from the Tennessean. He will join us. Got a lot to get into. Terry McCormick at the top of the hour. We'll talk about Jeffrey Simmons staying out of OTAs. Is it a big deal or much ado about nothing? We'll get his opinion on it. And then, let's see, what else are we going to do? Interesting poll put out by The Athletic that we'll talk about at 4:20. So there.
Are you good? You having a senior moment? You can't remember?
No, I'm just thinking about how to couch something here.
Oh, okay. All right.
You got it?
You're the director.
Yes, either way, we'll go to the break. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back in a moment. Mike Organ from the Tennessean will join us. He has been out at, and this is a deal that has gone on forever, the Tennesseans Schoolboys Tournament.
School days.
School days. Thank you. And over the years, it has produced some champions that have gone on to some big-time things. Among those, great Lou Graham, who won the 1975 U.S. Open at Medina.
Father Ryan grad.
Yeah, beat John Mahaffey in an 18-hole playoff. So anyway, it'll be interesting to hear when we get him on here what what the last couple of days have been like, because he basically runs that. And before that, we're in a stall. You can probably tell. Time only has been called. Kelly, every effort will be made to play this game. The Atlanta Braves, thank you for your patience.
Nice. School days. So what is this school days about? I mean, do we
Golf
know? Is that
tournament.
what we're asking? Oh, it's a golf tournament. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Where
Yeah.
where are they holding it at?
McCabe, isn't it?
McCabe. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
what do we got here? Oh, you've got some breaking news on the Braves.
Yeah, Craig Kimbrell is being called up from AAA Gwinnett to attempt to save this franchise at a moment of weakness.
I'm not sure that's going to happen, but Craig Kimbrell may well be a future Hall of Famer. Lives in Shelbyville in the offseason.
Having some trouble connecting with Mike.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in a little four-corner stall here. You sending him a note?
I am.
Okay. Hopefully we'll get this worked out here in just a second. So while we're in this stall, Kelly, let me just ask you this question, because I'm going to ask. Okay, I'm told Mike is here, so bag it. Let's say hello to Mike Organ. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, George. And the one time you didn't introduce me as the hardest working media man in Nashville, I was working when you called. When your screener called, I was conducting an interview at the 101st School Days Golf Tournament with one of the semifinalists. So sorry, I was busy at the time. Apologize.
No problem. In particular, for people who are new to our area, talk about the history of this and how you've gotten in the middle of it.
Oh, my goodness. This is the longest running. It was the longest running golf tournament in the state. And I'm talking about the Open, the Pro-Ams, everything. It was the longest running. And then COVID, as it did with everything else, screwed that up because we weren't able to have it in 20. But it's still, this is the 101st playing of the tournament, which is pretty miraculous that we've made it 101 years. It started over at Shelby Golf Course in the 30s, and is taken on some different forms, but it used to be a 9-hole tournament for ages 12 to 18. It's a free tournament. It has always been free, which is amazing. And then, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, Brant Snedeker, of course, played in the tournament 5 times. And he gave us some money to upgrade some things. And then a couple of years ago, he said, why don't you just come on our tour, the Sneds Tour? He said, we're looking for a different form of golf, because golf is popular again, George. People are playing again. A lot of people didn't know that. You know, it started losing its steam a few years ago. But what I'm told is this generation now likes to play. They just don't like to play the traditional rounds. They like to play different forms, and match play is one form they like to play. So Brant was looking for a match play tournament, and he came to me and he said, you know, why don't we put the School Days on the Sneds Tour? And I said, absolutely. So that helped in that respect, and it also helped in the fact that every kid in the state plays on the Sneds Tour. And when they were playing in this tournament, they couldn't play. They couldn't get their Sneds points that week. So we lost a lot of players during that time. Well, now that we're on the Sneds Tour, we get those kids back. So we had a full field this year. We're headed in, and we have a medalist round, the first round, and then we go into match play for the second 2 days. And I have been doing it. You have my involvement. I think this is probably about my 36th one. I think I started about 4 years in Tennessee, and been doing it quite a while. And I've hosted it at Shelby 1 year and at Rhodes, but every other year it's been out here at McCabe. And pretty cool. Yesterday, Peter Skorotsky showed up with Corey Levin, and Rupchik, I think, used to be a lineman for the Titans, and another lineman. So they showed up just to play yesterday. there's 3 9-holes out here. So that's the other thing. We can play our tournament and the public can still get on. We use up 2 of the 9 holes and the public plays the 3rd 9-hole. And by the time we're done, they can turn to one of the 9 holes we used first. So, yeah, those 4 Titans offensive linemen showed up yesterday. We were a little bit worried if the golf cart could carry them. They're huge. It was 340, but then some of the kids got to meet them, and it was a happen, coincidence that they just showed up to. I guess they're in town for the OTAs, and after they ended, they just came out to play some golf. So that was pretty cool yesterday. And we've had the other thing, and I'll shut up about this thing, but we've had some great players play in this tournament. Lou Graham played in this tournament, went on to win the U.S. Open in '75. Richard Eller, who won it 3 times. He went on to be a PGA player. Several players have gone on to the PGA Tour. Harry Taylor, Taylor-made golf clubs. He won it 3 times. He's now teaching pro out at the Opryland course. So it's a prestigious tournament.
Wow.
George, you mentioned Lou Graham, and I'm looking back at one of the stories you wrote on Graham, Mike. He was 10 years old in his first school days appearance, which is ridiculous. And he didn't play well at 10 years old. Went home mad. And there's some quotes from his mom, I think, in this piece too. But 5 years later, went on to win the school days. And then, of course, win on the PGA Tour, won the U.S. Open. That's crazy how far this thing goes back.
Well, Billy, think about this. He played this when he was 10. It's been 50 years since he won the U.S. Open. This is the 50th anniversary of him winning the 75th U.S. Open, the U.S. Open in 1975. So think about that. It's been 50 years since he won the Open, and you're talking about when he was playing as a 10-year-old. And the ages have varied. You could play as young as 10 back at one point. When we joined the SNED Tour, we only allowed up to 17. And then SNED allows 18-year-olds. So 2 years ago, we went to our last year was our first year. We went to 18. So 18-year-olds can now play. And it's gone from Luther Hickman sitting out here and just you would show up. You didn't have to register. You didn't have to do anything. You just showed up. He took your name down and you went and played 9 holes. You played the North 9 and came back and gave him your score. And that was your involvement. And then whoever was the low scorer won the tournament. So it's taken on tons of different forms, different ages, different levels of play. And this has just been the latest chapter is just joining the SNED Tour and getting Grant back involved.
Mike, over the weekend, you were out at the Super Speedway pretty much wall to wall. And I'm told that this was one of the most successful weekends, not just with the big race on Sunday night, but with everything they put out there. Kind of talk to us about that, and where do you think it all goes from here?
Yeah, they got it right moving it tonight. A triple header at night, trucks at night, Xfinity at night, and then, of course, the main thing, the Cup at night, 6:30, cool off. The place was packed by the time they started at 6:30 or 7. I can't remember which one it was. Xfinity, one of them started at 6:30, one of them started at 7. Incredible crowd. The crowd was there early, even though it was a night race, which is kind of funny. Everybody had been, chirping for the night race, and then they still show up at 11 o'clock. I didn't go out until 2, and I start seeing tweets and social media posts of all the people that were already out there and the things that were already going on. So I guess they wanted it to move tonight just so they could have more activities during the day, and it didn't have anything to do with the heat and all that. So that was cool. I thought that was really cool. They had great I'm trying to think of Morgan Wallen was there. Saw a picture of him with Richard Petty. Of course, Richard Petty being there, but Richard's there every year. He stays in his hauler, but he got out this time and mingled with Kyle, his son. And the other tradition that they kept going, George, was that a big name has won this race all 5 years. We haven't had any, lesser NASCAR drivers, lesser known NASCAR drivers that have won. We had Cal Parson win the first year, and then Chase Elliott, and then Kyle Larson. Elliott, Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, and now Ryan winning this week. Blaney winning this week. We've had big names. Those are 5 of the biggest names in the sport right now, and I've always thought that's been pretty cool.
Mike, you're always great with the pulse of what's really going on through a newspaper. Tennessee and Vandy in the NCAA baseball tournament. What's the level of interest out there amongst the masses, if you want to call it that?
Well, I think Vanderbilt, after 4 years of not making it any further than they have, that's just a continued disappointment there, especially becoming the first number 1 seed not to make it to the final of its region. So that's disappointing. But then Tennessee, it just makes it extra special for Tennessee, the defending champ, to be playing its best baseball maybe right now. It's maybe they are, maybe they aren't. It's hard to say with how bad Vanderbilt beat them, the last game. But that game seems like eons ago, considering what's happened since then. Level of excitement amongst our readership is amazing and astonishing to me, who's been there so long and seen baseball go from hardly any interest whatsoever, college baseball, to where it is today. And of course, winning, it's all about winning. And we have 2 teams in our readership that are amongst the best. Despite what's happened to Vanderbilt the last 4 years, they're still, they went into the tournament, the number 1, the best team in the country. So winning, George, it always comes down to that. And the fact that we've got 2 winners as the 2 biggest colleges that we cover translates to big interest.
Kelly, say hello to Mike Organ.
Mike, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good, man. Hey, I got to go back to the school days tournament. Like, I know that you got a bigger hand in that. What exactly do you do? I know you cover it, but are you doing anything else other than that?
Well, forever, Kelly, I ran it and covered it.
Oh, wow.
The paper would usually give me some help the first day, because it's just a huge undertaking to get 200 to 260 kids around the course. And, now I would co-run it with Metro Parks. We co-sponsor with Metro Parks. They donated the course, which is a huge donation, to give up McCabe for a day, and then parts of 2 other days. And then we took care of all the other costs. And so, of course, we had marshals and Metro people that handled the rules and enforcement of the rules, but I basically ran it along with them. And I did that forever until last year. And then when we became part of SNEDS, they put all of the administration duties. They handle all of that. And I have found myself doing nothing but coverage the last 2 years. And I absolutely love it, because I can give it the coverage it deserves. Whereas in the past, I'd be like, man, wish I could have caught that kid before they left, but I was doing this, or we were making a ruling here, or I was going to pick up the trophies or something like that. And now I feel good about just having to cover it. And I feel like I give it what it needs as far as coverage and attention. And not being a huge golfer, I didn't need to be running the golf tournament anyway. So it's worked out perfect.
With that many kids, how many people does that take to put that on, Mike? Because there's all kind of things. You got to, when does, you said Lou Graham started at 10. So what are the ages? I know it goes all the way up, but you got to put them in a specific group. And like, how many people does it take to run something that big like that?
We usually got about 10 people out here running it, 8 to 10 people at any given time. Somebody might go to lunch. Somebody might have to, a lot of the pros from the municipals come over and help. SNED sends his team here. So it's kind of a volunteer thing, or Metro make sure they can give their pros or their office managers time to come over and help. And we try to keep 3 to 4 people out on the course at all times. and it's tough that first day, like I said. But once we get down after that first day, we get into semifinals and quarterfinals and match play. It's far more manageable. And like I said, the ages, when Lou played, I don't know, there was an age limit. He played when he was 10. So it might have just been if you had clubs, you could play. In the 40 years I've done it, it was 12 to 17 until last year. And when we became part of SNED Tour, they already were in place 12 to 18. So we just added another year, which I really liked, Kelly, because it allows all the seniors, high school seniors, to play. Whereas in the past, they were only able to play with us through their junior year because they would turn 18 during the school year, their senior school year. So been really happy with going up a year. And we give trophies to there's a 12 to 14 division, and then the rest is 15 to 18. And that's your champ, and it's girls and boys champs.
So with the Cracker Barrel 400 coming, I got to ask you a question about this. With the Cracker Barrel 400 being here, now they've kind of gotten in a groove, they've gotten in a system. Is there anything you would like to see changed, or is there anything they could do better? Because it seems like people are loving it, and it's getting bigger as each year goes by.
Yeah, it's 5 straight sellouts, 4 straight sellouts, 4 out of 5. Which is really impressive. Now, you're going to have people. I had some guy on social media say, well, I guess it's okay to brag about selling out a 38,000 seat stadium. Well, you and I have talked about that before. Stadiums are shrinking, and if you're able to get some people out to your event, you're doing something. So that is an impressive accomplishment. And the only thing, and this is a sports writer whining kind of thing, is that basically Amazon Prime has bought this event. So they make all the rules, basically. So after the race, Ryan Blaney celebrates in winner's circle, and then he gets up and takes all his pictures with all of his sponsors' hats in front of him. People don't see this usually on TV, but they'll take a picture with everybody holding up number one, and then they'll take the same picture 20 times over, but with a different hat on and a different sponsor banner in front of them, because you have to appease all your sponsors. So we used to complain about that taking forever. Well, now Amazon Prime, which by the way does a great job with the race broadcast, I believe, with Steve Letard and Junior and Carl Edwards, that whole group. But anyway, after the hats photos, they keep the champion out there for about an hour show afterwards. And we're used to catching them, right after the race and getting the story up. So that's something that we're having to deal with, everybody in the media outside of Amazon Prime. And I'm not just talking about newspaper people. I'm talking about radio, TV, everybody else. You don't get the winner until long after the race. But it's this is the age we live in. You have to pay to watch it, and to watch it without commercials, or if they put it in the little box where you can watch it through the commercials. And it's just something that the rest of the media is having to kind of adjust to.
George, I got another one if you want me to keep going. Can I keep going?
Go ahead.
Is there anybody that you interviewed that you hadn't interviewed that you thought was, you didn't know about them, but you thought was pretty cool? Like is there a guy, is there a newcomer that you really enjoyed talking to or getting to know or hear about? Is there any guys like that?
Yeah, during the process, I didn't know Noah Gregson very well. And before the race, 2 or 3 weeks out, he came in and I got to spend the day with him. I think I've told you I went to Hattie B's with him, and then got to know him that day. Well, on Saturday during the Xfinity race, they bring in all the guys that are in the points chase and some other people. Well, Noah was the first one to show up because he showed up before anybody else was even scheduled, like 15 minutes. And they said, well, no, you didn't have to be here till 3:15. He goes, I heard they had Hattie B's in the media room, so I wanted to come over and get Hattie B's. So of course, I played off that with my first question. I said, you're really hooked on this stuff. He said, I absolutely am. He said, he said, I got here 2 days ago and I took Riley Herbst to the one downtown. And he said, yesterday I went back to the one at Midtown. So he said, this is 3 days in a row I've had Hattie B's. So the kid's got an iron stomach, I'll say that. I don't know if I can handle 3 days. He eats the hot level, which is 3 levels down from the top. And he loves it. He absolutely, and he's just a cool guy. I really like him. He's from Las Vegas. He had an incident in the race with Carson Hocevar, who ended up finishing second. And he let it be known that he'll get there'll be some payback for Hocevar at some point. Hocevar ran up on his back bumper early in the race and knocked him out. And he's the one that I got to know better than anybody. And then the second would be Ryan Blaney. I had not had a lot of interaction with Blaney in the past, and he came to my office the week before the race and got to spend some time with him then. And then in the interview room, he looked down at me and Tom Cregan and he goes, "Hey guys, I was just with you guys last week." So we were happy that he remembered us, probably because we're both bald, but at least he remembered us. And he's a nice guy. He's a good champion, laid back, very cerebral, very good to talk to after a race to tell you how things panned out and why they did. So he had Kelly 5 DNFs, did not finish it out of the first 13 races. So he was due. And that was just a great storyline for the race, was for a guy that had struggled. And we're not talking about, some average driver. He was a 2023 Cup champion. So coming off a Cup champion, and then you got 5 DNFs for different reasons, motor, driving, just getting crashed, whatever. And for him to win, put a spotlight on the race.
Mike, sounds like you've been busy. Appreciate it as always.
Guys, I'm on vacation next week. I will miss you guys, but I'll come back stronger than ever the week when I come back, the following week.
Look forward to it. Take care, Mike.
Bye, guys.
Hardest working man in Nashville sports, Mike Organ from the Tennessean, joining us. We'll take a break and come back with a little bit more. Terry McCormick at the top of the hour. Get ready. We got plenty more coming on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Attention sports fans. The George Plaster Show will broadcast live this Friday from the grand opening of X Golf at 209 South Royal Oaks in Franklin. If you love golf in any form or fashion, this is where you need to be. Experience the future of golf through the world's most accurate simulator. See you in Franklin on Friday.
You're
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't. Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Billy, here's a little info for a Father Ryan grad about Lou Gray. So 50 years ago, like in the next week, he wins the U.S. Open in a 18-hole playoff at Medina, which is just outside of Chicago somewhere. And then 2 years later, he comes within an eyelash of winning it again. And the scary thing, 50 years ago, I remember watching the playoff. It was on NBC with John Mahaffey. Mahaffey was who he beat in the playoff.
That's crazy.
George, that's not surprising. You're old.
Kelly, thank you for
you remember watching that? Wow.
I do remember watching it.
Was that on a little box, a little black and white box TV?
You know, I think we had gotten color at that point.
You had?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No, that was a big moment.
That's right. 75 it was. So, yeah, I was born 2 years earlier, but you're old, George. You remember that.
Thank you. I do remember it. I didn't know a ton about golf, but I knew that winning the U.S. Open's pretty damn special.
It is really special. You know what? You know, another thing that I remember, I had a flashback when I just saw the commercials of your golf swing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever.
Not much power going on in that.
No, I don't appreciate your negativity. You know, not all of us can be the high-paid superstar that you were.
It's not negativity, George. It's just being honest. I mean, there's no
right, but there's no purpose in it. That comment was made to tear down. That's all it was. Billy, is that true or false?
That's true.
Yes, sure it is. Tear down.
Young William the other week. What happened to you, William? Did you leave the golf course?
I left early. Yeah, I had to leave early, but I played.
Why? What's so busy on your schedule?
You left after 12?
Well, that thing lasted. My group took forever. No offense to my group.
What kind of a teammate are you?
It wasn't going to end till 8 o'clock.
Oh, that is absolutely not true.
Well, you're bickering because you didn't have a team, and then you leave early. You'll not be invited back. Don't worry.
I told myself I was leaving at 5.
You should not be invited back.
Because we should have been done by 5. But we weren't. They probably weren't done till 7.
You should not be invited back.
What time did you get done, George and
about
Kelly?
6:30.
What time were you done, Kelly?
It was about the same. I mean, it was long. It was a long process, and the guys I was playing with, they had fun. Let's just put it that way. There were a lot of tents, and there was a lot of alcohol on the course.
Yeah, I don't. There was, and I don't think. It's good that it was early in the early holes though, because there on the back 9 you didn't see as many.
They were still there.
So you quit after 12.
It was 12 or 13, something like that.
Quitters never.
That's soft. You're soft. You're soft, Billy. That's what it boils down to. You were bickering to me about not having a team, and then you leave early. Wow.
That thing was taking forever.
And then he goes in, and he buys the hardest balls that you can get in golf, Pinnacle. I could go out and get some clay and mold that. I mean, those Pinnacle balls are so hard.
Well, we can't all be.
Well, let's see.
It has nothing to do with that. Know a little bit of golf.
Off. Pinnacle, Billy has seen to it that he never gets invited to a tournament again. It's been a really good segment.
That's right. This is the worst segment we've ever done.
No, sadly, it's not. Okay. Ask one question to both of you before Terry comes on here. Is it a big deal in your mind that Jeffrey Simmons is not out there right now?
Not in today's football, it's not. He's one of the big guys on the team. He's one of the big guys in the National Football League. And nowadays, I don't understand how, as a coach, I know that Terry talked the other day about it, but his D-line coach is not worried about it at all. He's like, some guys just like to train on their own. I grew up in an era where you just don't do that. But it's something that old school guys, old school coaches they've had to get used to, because guys just don't do it anymore. They don't come to mini camps. They don't come to OTAs. Their money is leveraged to make sure that they don't have to. Nobody cares. So it's hard to build team continuity that way, but that's the new age of this. I don't see anything about it. Everybody's doing it nowadays, George. He talked about Derrick Henry used to always do it. So you knew what you were getting with Derrick Henry. You kind of know what you're getting with Jeffrey Simmons, because he's done it for quite a while now, and he's been paid. So he's one of the best defensive linemen in the league. So I don't see much of it.
Billy, you got a different take?
No. I mean, I think Jeffrey Simmons is a good player, but he's not what he seems to crack himself up to be. And he really hasn't been all that good of a leader for the franchise. So,
okay, we'll talk with Terry McCormick about all this in a matter of, 4 minutes. After the break, stat of the day, then Terry will join us to start the 4 o'clock hour on 94.9 The Fan.
Can't watch the race? We got you.
I can't believe it!
NASCAR lives on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Whether it's 102.5 The Game, 94.9 The Fan, or Sports Talk 830, you can hear it all. Just check theGameNashville.com for the full schedule. NASCAR lives here. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Listen on the air.
So don't tell me to chill out.
On the web at theGameNashville.com.
This team has strategically put themselves back in the mix.
Watch us on YouTube or download the Game Nashville app.
You have to make those plays.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Give Dad what he really wants this Father's Day with gifts from Electronic Express. We've got the latest tech, hottest grills, and top-of-the-line home entertainment to help you celebrate Father's Day in style. Looking for appliances to help him finish that kitchen project? We've got that too, with free delivery, guaranteed lowest prices, and up to 24 months free financing. Make this Father's Day one he'll remember. Shop in store or online at electronicexpress.com.
Nashville, the semifinals of the PFL World Tournament begin Thursday, June 12th. Former welterweight world champion Jason Jackson takes on rising star the Silverback Thad Jean, plus 2023 PFL World Champ Jesus Pinedo and Gabriel Braga collide in a highly anticipated trilogy match. Don't miss your chance to see the action live June 12th at Municipal Auditorium in Nashville. Visit pflmma.com/schedule for more info.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Hey, did you miss Clinton and Friends?
Steve in Reno, what's up?
Hey guys, I wanted to say thank you. First time caller. I've been listening to your guys' show damn near every day. Really wanted to appreciate your guys' baseball intellect. It's allowed my IQ to rise and allows me to watch these games and understand what's happening. I really wanted to say thank you and I appreciate it.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Hi, this is Jeff Fisher, and the Nashville Cats return to F&M Bank Arena in downtown Clarksville for our next home game, Saturday, June 14th at 5 p.m. against the Corpus Christi Tritons. Please visit thenashvillecats.com for tickets. Clause out.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Talking a little Titans with Terry McCormick coming up, but first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their phone number, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going NHL today. Even if Leon Draisaitl's overtime goal was in Game 1 last night, there have been Stanley Cup Final Series won on overtime goals. When was the last time that happened?
Okay, now wait a minute. We need to...
Finals series, the entire thing.
In other words, the goal that won the Stanley Cup in Game 4, 5, 6, or 7. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's in overtime, correct?
Yes.
There was a Buffalo-Dallas series, I want to say in 99, that ended with an overtime goal that won it for one of those two teams. Maybe it wasn't Buffalo. I don't remember. The fact of the matter is I don't have a clue. And my guess is Kelly doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, your guess would be correct, 100%.
So, Billy, rather than beat around the bush about this, reveal the last time it happened.
2014, the Kings beat the Rangers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Two big old markets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hour number 1 is now officially done. We welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour from our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. We say hello to Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitansInsider.com. Professor, how are you?
Doing well. How are you guys?
I'm good. For people that are interested, what does next week look like with the Titans?
Well, next week is the mandatory minicamp, which is different from the voluntary OTAs in that everybody's required to be there. This is summer school, George. You got to go there if you want to get to the next grade. So that's kind of what these 3 days are. Everybody's expected to be there. The OTAs, not everybody has to show up, and a lot of times veterans don't show up. But for OTAs, everybody's supposed to be accounted for.
So is this a designation that the Players Association fought for in collective bargaining?
I'm sure that probably had something to do with it. One of those things that, the OTAs, like I said, they don't want, you don't necessarily have to be there. It is strongly encouraged, shall we say.
Okay.
In the form of workout bonuses and those sorts of things. But minicamp is when you convene and you're going through the off-season practices, and this is the last hurrah before training camp will start at the end of July.
So would I be right to assume that those who feel pretty darn good about their status are more likely to say, screw it, it's voluntary, I don't need to be there, as opposed to those who kind of feel like...
A little of that in OTAs, like Jeffrey Simmons has not been here throughout the off-season work for the Titans. Everybody else has been. Brian Callahan and his staff have been kind of selling this as a new beginning, kind of, a bonding time and all that good stuff. So, it's one of those things where you try to build some camaraderie while you install the offense, you install the defense, and they got so many new faces and, guys that are coming in here and, that almost half the roster, that it's probably a good thing that they've had a large amount of guys in and that it's been mostly well attended.
Okay, on Simmons, publicly they're saying all the right things. Privately, how do they really feel that he's not there?
Well, I think they probably would prefer that he be there. I think they would like it to be 100% attendance, but he wasn't there last year, so it's not really that big of a deal. And like I said, in the past, you've seen guys, Derrick Henry was notorious for working out on his own in the offseason. It never seemed to affect his play very much. So, if you have a certain amount of cachet, you can certainly get away with it because and really there's nothing the team can do because it is voluntary, George.
Yes, I'm sure it is. So next week, one of the big questions involves L'Jarius Sneed, who they got in free agency a year ago from the Chiefs. He was hurt almost from the beginning. Number one, do they expect him to be fully healthy? And are they banking on him huge or saying to themselves, if we get something, it's a bonus?
Yeah, I think that's a big mystery. I don't know that they really have the answers. I think they're optimistic that he's going to be fine, that he's going to be able to play, but he missed a lot I think he played in 5 games last year, and that's certainly not what they were banking on when they acquired him from the Chiefs. And, they attributed it mostly to a quad injury that was kind of freakish and that something that kind of lasted much, much longer than they thought, had to go in and have some surgery done on it, all sorts of things that went wrong. And then he got into a little bit of a legal issue as well here late in the season that didn't really come to light until the off season. So L'Jarius Sneed has a lot of things to answer for if and when he's on the field. Now they claim he's been present here during the OTAs, that he's been on site some, but in the 2 or 3 practices that have been open for us in the media, he's been nowhere near the field. So I don't know what he's been doing. I don't know if he's been working out inside the building. I don't know if he's been rehabbing. Don't know if he's been watching cartoons, George, but he's doing something to pass the time as he gets ready to come back.
God, I hope he's not watching the Braves.
He probably hopes he's not either.
Nice bullpen today. 7 in the 9th to lose 11-10. So, Terry, when they get back next week, give me a couple of other storylines that we need to be watching.
Well, this team's pass rush was terrible last year. And then they went and released Harold Landry in a cap-cutting move. He had 9 sacks, and by no means was it his best year, but he certainly had 9. I think the team only had 32 or something like that as a unit. So the pass rush is going to be something that's going to be really, really looked at. I mean, I know all eyes on offense are going to be on Cam Ward and what he can do, but on defense, everybody's going to be looking at what they're going to do to try to get pressure on the quarterback and give this defense a chance to be better. They brought in Draymond Jones as a veteran. They brought in Lorenzo Carter, but the key guy, in my opinion, is right there on your screen, Femi Oladejo, the rookie second-round pick out of UCLA. A little bit of a project. He's a guy that played mostly inside linebacker in college until they moved him there his final year with the Bruins, and he seemed to excel. He was the MVP of the Senior Bowl, so there's certainly some traits there. He's got the size. He's got the physical attributes that you want. Looks to have the speed and certainly the motor, but it may take a little bit of time for him to learn the nuances of that position. Probably helps him that he's going from inside linebacker to outside linebacker rather than vice versa, because inside linebackers, a lot of times they're the guys who make the call. They're the so-called quarterback of the defense, if you will, and they're the ones who are responsible for, making the adjustments. Whereas as an outside linebacker, your job is mainly just to see ball, hit ball, and in a lot of ways. There's certainly more intricacies to it than that, because sometimes in these zone blitz schemes, you'll be asked to drop into coverage, or you'll be asked to blitz, or you'll be asked to do certain things as, like setting the edge for, on the run. But it's certainly, from a mental standpoint, should be a lot simpler for him to master that than it would be going the opposite way of saying, well, you're going to be an inside linebacker. You better learn what the safeties and the corners and everybody else is doing so that you can tell them what to do.
Kelly, what do you got for Terry?
I'm sitting here thinking, has there been a Traylon Burks sighting? I mean, what's going on with him? I've never in my life, I don't believe, I've been around the game for a long time. I've talked about the game for a long time. I've never seen a guy get 9 lives like Traylon Burks. And is he healthy? What's going on with him, Terry?
Well, he's been back out there in a limited capacity. He's doing a little bit of work during individual and stuff. They're not putting him in any 7-on-7 or any team drills during OTAs. He's still a ways away from being released to do that. He's coming off that knee injury. He looks a little heavier, to be honest with you. Most people would say he looks a little heavier than he has been, and that's probably due to the fact that he hasn't been able to do a whole lot of working out with that knee injury. And because he's just now coming off that knee injury, he doesn't look as explosive off the line as he's breaking out into his routes, and making his cuts. Perhaps that will come once he rounds into shape and is released and the knee is healthier and he's ready to go. But, to me, it's one of those deals where anything you get from him is probably going to be a bonus.
Have the coaches said anything about him? I mean, are they? It doesn't look like it doesn't seem like you can depend on him, but like, is he still in the running to make this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think he still has a chance to make the team. I mean, for no other reason than this is not exactly, an impressive wide receiver group once you get past the top 1 or 2 guys. I mean, Calvin Ridley had a fairly solid year last year. He got to 1,000 yards. Tyler Lockett's coming in. I mean, he's a little long in the tooth, but you don't know how much he has left in the tank. And the youngsters that they brought in are, 2 fourth-round picks and an undrafted rookie. So you're talking about not exactly, this is not exactly the 98 Vikings where you're running Randy Moss, Chris Carter, and Jake Reed out there, and you got to beat one of those guys out. It's a group where Traylon Burks is going to have every opportunity. Now, the bloom may be off the rose in terms of him being a first-round pick and living up to that, but certainly with this receiving core, if he can give them something, they'll take it.
George talked a little bit about this, and he talked about behind closed doors. And when he said that, it's probably kind of the same question, Terry, but these OTAs, like, they're voluntary. We get they're voluntary, but when I was playing it, and 99% of the guys were there. I mean, they're all there. But like, voluntary means you better be there. And I know that these coaches, like George said, they do say all the right things, but behind closed doors and out, out when you're talking to them, it's got to frustrate them a little bit. I don't know if you've heard any of that chatter. I don't know if you hear any of that. I don't even know if you can answer the question. But like, me being an old school guy, and some of these coaches, like Tracy Rucker, I mean, like, he's an old school guy. It's got to be irritating, but we're in a time where it's hard to do anything about it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, if Brian Callahan and Denard Wilson and Tracy Rocker had their druthers, they'd have Jeffrey Simmons there. He'd be accounted for. He'd be there every day, and he'd be, being one of the team leaders like he is billed to be. But, in this day and age, like you said, some guys feel better training on their own and only coming back in, once they're required to. And as long as he comes in and there are no setbacks or anything like that, he still looks like himself and he's healthy and all, then, they really don't have much of a leg to stand on. But yeah, you ask people in private and they're probably going to tell you, I wish he was here.
Terry, is he good? And I don't know if you can answer this one either. Billy brought it up earlier, and I just want to know this because George was talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I think George and Aaron Rodgers are best friends because of some of the things that George says. But is he a good teammate?
That's a good question. I think guys like him, and I think they know he's a productive player. He plays through injuries and things like that. But I don't know that he is the best from a leadership standpoint, and he's kind of been thrust into that role because you look, since the departures of guys like Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Kevin Byard, that was your leadership on those good teams. That was it.
Yeah.
It was those 3 guys plus maybe a few more role players and things like that who had a voice. Ben Jones certainly would fit that bill. Taylor Lewan would have fit that bill. But, Simmons, I think when you're a high draft pick and you're the most productive player on the team and you're the most recognizable guy, the leadership is going to be thrust upon you. It's how you handle it, I guess, that, comes into play. And leadership can be leadership can be a number of different ways. There's some guys who are rah-rah guys who want to, get it, are enthusiastic every day to be out there, and they want that behavior to spread throughout the entire team. There are other guys who just go about their work, they behave like a pro, and you pick up on what they do just by watching them. And then, and so leadership can take several different forms, but I think the one thing I would say about Jeffrey Simmons in terms of where he has struggled to maybe be a leader at times is, and I'm certainly not going to, try to disparage him or anything, but when the team is losing, they want somebody to stand up and say, why this is happening, why this isn't working. And for the most part, Simmons has been a stand-up guy, but there's been a couple of times where he's kind of lost his cool and, in terms in interview situations and things like that, or he gets penalties, at inopportune times and things like that. And I think when you're losing, those things become magnified. If the Titans had won 11 games last year, nobody would have thought anything about, an outburst or a key penalty that maybe allowed a touchdown drive to continue. But when you're losing, those things are manifested and they're magnified. And I think that Jeffrey Simmons has kind of fallen victim to that, in that when he's been frustrated or he's, made a play that's hurt the team and it helps to cost them a game, it certainly looks like he's not a good leader, even though that may not be the case. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I've been around guys like that, and it's thrust upon them, but they're not ready for it. They don't like it, and I've always said that leaders. I was a natural born leader, but I don't know. There's circumstances where you say, hey, you can learn to be a leader. I don't know if that's the case. But it just seems like that's kind of him. He don't want that on him. He wants other guys to take it's been kind of thrust upon him, and I don't know how he's done with that, but that just seems from a distance from me, that's how he is.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that he would lead better if he also didn't have to be the team spokesman. It was certainly less noticeable in terms of his situation when Kevin Byard was here and Byard was the vocal leader and the spokesman for the defense. Does that make sense?
No, you're absolutely right. Hey, so my last question here. I know that y'all get to go watch practice at OT or at the mini camp, I believe is what you said the other day. But has Cam Ward, how has he looked? Has he gotten more comfortable with the offense? It takes time for a young guy. I know he's in early. You've told us that. He likes to work at it. But has he come it's hard to be comfortable when you first come into it. Has he gotten a little bit more comfortable as practice has gone on?
He seems to be. He had a little bit of an up and down day the other day. There were some passes that weren't on target. There was one or two that were dropped. But he seems to be getting more comfortable. He got better as the day went along when we got to see him on Tuesday. And so I think that's probably what you want out of him. I think the thing that I worry about with Cam Ward is this. The expectations of being the number one overall pick with the recent success that some of these guys have had that have been picked up high, like C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels, is that he's going to come in and he's going to be Superman and he's going to turn this entire franchise around. And I don't know that this roster is in a place where that can be done right away. This is, unless something really miraculous occurs, this is a team that's not going to be a whole lot better than they were in 2024. And I think that, I hope that the situation doesn't sour the fans on Cam Ward and doesn't sour Cam Ward on the system, because I do think the guy has a chance to be a pretty good quarterback just from, the early stages of watching him and seeing how he operates and all. But I think, there's going to have to be some patience exercised here. And let's be honest here. This is a kind of a dysfunctional organization, and it takes an unbreakable spirit for a quarterback or a coach or whoever it might be to overcome a dysfunctional organization. It's been done a few times. Peyton Manning did it with the Colts. Joe Burrow is doing it with the Bengals. But there are times when the dysfunction of the franchise kind of, swallows up the hotshot prospect quarterback. Now, I think Cam Ward has the type of personality to handle that. And if you're a Titans fan, that's good. But you got to be a little bit patient with the guy and not expect miracles overnight.
Terry, appreciate it as always. You have a good weekend.
All right. You guys have a good one too.
Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com. After the break, some news about where you get drafted, when you get drafted, how you get drafted in the NFL. You may find it interesting. You may not, but we'll share it after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. Kelly, The Athletic did a story earlier today that I found pretty interesting. Not that it was earth-shattering stuff, but it's the title of the article is what the last 5 years of the NFL draft tells us about college football recruiting. And what they have used is the 24/7 sports composite. Okay, what you see if you're watching by way of podcast is on the screen. Those of you who aren't, I'll kind of share it with you. I don't think this is a huge surprise, although the number is maybe even larger than I thought. 94% of first-round draft picks in the NFL in the last 5 years have been listed as either a 3-star, a 4-star, or a 5-star. Kelly, I'm assuming here, and this is not me taking a cheap shot, that back then, if they had such a thing, you were not any of those, were you?
No, I mean, they didn't have that stuff back when I came out. I don't need, it's amazing to me how, you know, I was playing baseball, not playing baseball, but I was coaching baseball for my son, and I had this guy come up and tell me, he was like, yeah, my son is he's like 10 years old, and he was like a 4-star, basketball prospect. And I'm like, how do you know that? Like, who makes the stars? Like, I've told you this before. I'm not this is a pretty cool deal right here, but I'm not trying to hate on this, but like a star, I don't care about a star as a quarterback. I want to see a guy that can stand in the pocket and make a throw when the pressure's on, when he gets bloodied in the mouth, when he gets hit quite a bit. Like that, stars tell me nothing, but this is a pretty cool deal.
Okay, but even though I'm with you for the most part,
yeah,
doesn't this thing tell you, for instance, in the first round, 94% were either 3, 4, or 5 stars? Doesn't that say that they're getting a lot of this right?
It does, but I would like to see another study on, all these guys that have been drafted, how many of them make it. That's kind of the what I would like to see, like how many of these guys make it and how many of these guys make it to superstardom. Like, because there's a lot of guys in the first round. I've seen first round picks, man, bust. They couldn't play. I saw a guy, I played with a guy in Buffalo who was a tackle, and he was, he was a massive human being. But you talking about no motor whatsoever. I mean, he had feet. He was huge. He could move people when you made him mad, but like he never got mad, and he was soft as cotton. And it just like, so I'm sure he was a 5-star because he looked that. But like, I would just be interested to see out of that 94% you're talking about, how many of the guys made it. There's some of them going to fly, but how many of the guys made it and made it to superstardom?
90% of second-round picks were either 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. The number drops to 80% in the third round. The number drops to 76% in the fourth round. And in the fifth round, the percentage is 83%, but most of them are 3-stars at that point. So let me just play a little quiz with young William. Hello, William.
Hello.
Okay. Blank percent of NFL draft picks over the last 5 years played at Power 4 schools. What's the percentage?
I would say 90.
Okay,
Around 90.
let me throw this out there because I might not be being totally fair here. Played their last year of college at a Power 4.
Oh. So that probably lowers it. I mean, 80? I don't know.
84%.
I knew it was going to be high. But that is interesting, the last year part of that. But I would love to start now and then move forward the next 3, 4, 5 years and see how much that changes because of the portal and NIL. Because of schools like a Coastal Carolina, for example, or Liberty, or a lot of these Group of 5 schools that have proven to be, elite at times programs. It's not as consistent as Power 5 schools, but I'd be interested to see how that changes.
Yet another question for young William.
Okay.
What 4 states have produced over the last 5 years the most NFL draft picks?
Florida, Georgia, Texas, California.
Bingo. The top 10
Nice,
states.
Nice.
Young William is doing well. Who do you think would be 5th?
5th.
Because there's
Alabama?
one I might have thrown in there.
Alabama?
Nope, they're number 8.
Ohio.
Louisiana.
Oh, Louisiana.
See, I would have gone Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio is 6th, then North Carolina, Alabama, Michigan, Maryland.
A lot of kids in Maryland in that DMV. That's interesting.
Wow.
Okay. Now, you ready for this one?
Yep.
I got to find it first. So, obviously, most of the big schools are where the draft picks are coming from. Outside of the Power 4, what schools are producing the most NFL draft picks? Give me one.
Liberty.
Liberty. Give me liberty or give me death.
Oh, wow.
Wrong. Kelly?
I mean, are you asking me an actual school or a conference?
I'm asking you to name a school, a non-Power 4 school that has produced the most NFL draft picks.
Golly. Is it a group of 5s? George, here's the deal. I want to know the thing. Is it a group of 5 or is it an FCS school?
Well, it's a little bit of both.
What?
I'm going to say one of the Dakotas.
North Dakota State.
North Dakota.
Numero dos. 2.
Oh.
They're number 2.
So
they're number 2. So number 1, I'm going to say.
I believe you could be here from now to eternity. You're not getting
Madison.
number 1.
James
Madison is not in the top 10. William.
Wow.
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss is not on the list. Thank you for trying.
UCF, for example, are they
UCF is now Power 4.
Power 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to just give them to you?
No,
Yeah.
hold on.
Oh, we have a late entry.
Oh, gosh.
You said we're never going to get this.
I don't think so.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, ladies and gentlemen, is not on the list. Again, thank you for playing.
I'm gonna say Boise.
Boise is number 3, actually tied for 2nd with North Dakota State.
Damn it.
Because that's a smart pick. Boise.
New Mexico?
New Mexico. Billy, you are 0 for June.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for participating. Hold on. I believe Billy's about to throw in the Roberto Duran towel. No mas.
Yeah, he's about to do what he did on the golf course the other day. Just leave and quit.
Quit.
I'm sure your foursome was happy that you quit, Billy.
I'm tired.
George, is it a group of? I got to ask another question. Is it a group of 5 school?
Thirsty.
George, is it a group of 5 school that's number 1?
Yes.
Troy.
Excuse me, is there a problem over there? What's so funny about Troy?
That's not much better than my guesses.
Troy, ladies and gentlemen, is not on the list.
Wow. Hey, but I've gotten 2, Billy, so you need to relax there, friend.
UTEP or UTSA?
It's probably going to be like Texas State or somebody.
So, okay, Billy, what were the last 2?
UTEP or UTSA?
UTEP and UTSA. Neither are on the list. Thank you.
This is impossible.
Having fun?
Texas State.
Texas State, which, as you know, I once thought was prison, is not on the list.
It'd be sweet if it was Louisiana Monroe. I would love it because you're always talking about it, George.
La Tech is not on the list. Billy, your streak continues. O for June.
Ohio.
Billy?
Ohio is not on the list. Thank you for playing, though. Thank you for.
You might as well go ahead and tell us, George, because we're never going to get it.
Billy gets a participation trophy for those 12 holes.
It's like Arkansas State or like somebody out west. It's crazy.
Tulane is number 1.
We should have gotten that.
Gosh. Tulane.
Followed by North Dakota State.
Well, hold on. Okay, UCF. I don't know why I'm forgetting. What conference is UCF in?
They're
in the Big 12
now.
Okay, I was thinking Tulane moved also. That's my bad.
So here are the teams. Tulane, North Dakota State, Boise, Western Michigan, Western Kentucky, Marshall, South Dakota State, Louisiana, which is the old UL Lafayette, San Diego State, Toledo. Those are the top 10 non-Power 4 programs producing NFL draft picks over the last 5 years.
Cannot believe I did not get Tulane.
Ty said, let's just go Jackson State. That would have been
you know what? That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did that achieve? I don't know, not much, but I thought it was interesting.
Better than the last segment we just had.
Excuse me?
You mean the Terry McCormick segment?
No,
are you ripping on Terry?
not the Terry. Sorry, the
way to go, Billy.
The 5-minute segment.
Oh, the 5-minute one about Lou Graham.
Yeah.
The fact that he was a Father Ryan grad.
That you and Kelly started ripping me for leaving early.
Because you're easy to rip.
It's inexcusable.
Oh, yeah.
You were invited as a guest and you bailed. I'm tired.
I actually wasn't even on the list.
You shouldn't have been.
Exactly. Because you didn't do anything.
That shows you how much loyalty George has got to you. He didn't even get you put on the list.
No, hold on a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
I am absolved. Your name was there. They apparently decided that you were not an A-lister.
There was minimal effort on your end to put me on that list.
That is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll open up the phones. God only knows where this is going. 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. That's one way to reach us. Billy, what is the other?
The chat room is open on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You can swipe up on your phone to fire a question away. We'd love to hear from you.
By the way, get ready. There appears to be more rain coming over the next couple of days. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Attention sports fans, the George Plaster Show will broadcast live this Friday from the grand opening of X Golf at 209 South Royal Oaks in Franklin. If you love golf in any form or fashion, this is where you need to be. Experience the future of golf through the world's most accurate simulator. See you in Franklin on Friday. Or fashion, this is where you need to be. Experience the future of golf through the world's most accurate simulator. See you in Franklin on Friday. Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Kelly, you know what I didn't do is we were inviting people to the phones.
What's that?
I didn't ask for red-blooded Americans.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So
They're slow
red-blooded
to the ticker
Americans,
today.
jump on the phones. We got some lines open. You take it wherever you want to, as long as it's sports, at 615-553-0933. Casey and Brentwood, you're the first call on 94.9 The Fan.
Good year. They didn't have a great year last year. They've been kind of mediocre. Do you think this is this start that's really good? They're first in the NL and their record right now. Do you think they can maybe carry this on and really have a chance at winning another world championship? Or do you think this is maybe just they're hot, but they're regressed back towards kind of their talent level?
Okay, we lost you at the very beginning of it. I'm assuming you're talking about the Cubs.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
First of all, I don't think this is any fluke. I think the Cubs are for real. The second thing is this young guy, Pete Crow Armstrong, has forced his way into the conversation to be the most valuable player in the National League. And I would argue, yeah, it's early. But if the season ended right now, he might get that award. And I'll tell you this. They have this tradition, Billy. They created a song in 2016, the Go Cubs Go deal, and everybody has the W flag when they win at Wrigley. Kelly, I don't know if you've seen this. It is amazing how many people, when they win, take that W flag to Wrigley. They're everywhere.
I want to go to a game there. I've only went to Turner Field, went to the new Truist, it's not even really new anymore, but went to Truist, been to Busch Stadium, but that's it. I would love to go see Wrigley.
First of all, let me ask the caller.
I've been to PNC Park actually too.
Have you ever been to Wrigley?
One time.
It's incredible. It and Fenway are the two really old ones, in Dodger Stadium's the third. And there's just something really cool about Fenway and Wrigley because they're old. Both have had, the front offices of their teams do everything they can in their power to keep those ballparks alive, and not just say, okay, we're going to get the bulldozer on them. I admire that. The Cubs are in for a really fun summer. And as I look at that division, I don't think they're going to blow it. I think they're for real.
By the way, on this day in 1985.
Hold on. On this day in 1985. I don't know.
Ferris Bueller took the day off.
Yes. And he went to Wrigley Field. And if you watch really close, the player that he's pitching to is former Brave, the late Claudell Washington.
Mm-hmm. Who's winning?
Claudell Washington. Caller, what else? So you're a Cubs fan, huh?
Yeah, I am. I kind of grew up a Cubs fan. My dad was a Cubs fan, and now I'm a Cubs fan. So that's why I was calling in to ask. I was going to ask Danny what he thought yesterday, but yeah, I was one short. Y'all didn't get to me, so I called in today to ask y'all instead. So thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Okay, call us again sometime. They're for real.
Will. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Kelly, they're for real. And look, this is clearly, the longer it goes on, not going to be my most favorite baseball summer. If you know what I mean.
There's a lot of teams, just like I asked Danny yesterday about the Detroit Tigers. Like, when has the Detroit Tigers been this good? And he said yesterday he thought they were the best team in the American League. That's crazy. And then, the Cardinals have been down the last couple of years, and the Cardinals are coming on. The Chicago Cubs are, like you said, they're for real. So, hey, some of these teams have got to come back and get back to winning. And the Braves are down this year, which I know that you hate. But hey, I like what the Chicago Cubs are doing. I like what the Detroit Tigers are doing. All these teams, man, it's fun to watch. There were some teams that everybody had these high expectations for, and they hadn't, done well. And then these teams that nobody really thought was going to be very good is kind of the cream is rising to the top this year.
The Cubs right now, I just pulled this up, are a half game from the best record in the National League. They're 38-23. They got a 4-game lead over the Cardinals going into today, 5-game lead over Milwaukee. Cincinnati's 9 out. So it's down probably to the Cubs, Cardinals, Milwaukee. Yeah. I think the Cubs pitching is plenty good enough. And this young guy, Crow Armstrong, is the real deal.
Yeah, they are young, though. That's the only potential downside of this Cubs team. I know Tucker is an older guy, but Seiya Suzuki's young, right? PCA is young. Dansby is young on the younger side. He's gotten older now. How long has he been in the league?
28, 29.
Okay, so getting up there a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like Nico Horner, he's young. So
love Nico Horner.
Yeah.
They're for real. I'll tell you this.
And credit to them for, the moves they made after the World Series. There was a lot of heat on their front office, but they've turned that into a roster that's even better than that World Series team.
They've quieted that down. They actually, at the moment, have a game and a half lead over the Dodgers as far as best record right now is the Mets by a half game over the Cubs, and the Dodgers, who right now are the division leader in the West, are 12 over 500. The Cubs are 15 over. In the American League, the Yankees in the East are 14 over. The Tigers, Kelly, are 18 over 500. The Astros are 5 over in a really close race in the West.
Crazy. Gonna be some good baseball here in the summer.
The other team in Chicago, White Sox, they just walked it off. Tim Elko, former Ole Miss Rebel.
He just got called up, didn't he?
Yeah, just got called up a couple of days ago.
Okay, so let's do this before we go to an important segment in the show. Tomorrow, we're going to spend a lot of time on the NCAA baseball tournament, which resumes with the super regionals. Other than the Tennessee regional, which one do you want to see the most? Which one intrigues you the most?
That's a good question. Looking forward to seeing what Auburn does against Coastal Carolina. That's a really good Coastal Carolina team. Auburn getting a chance to host another super regional in a park where they haven't been able to do that a whole lot, and they've renovated that park. I can't wait to see what that one's like. But I'd probably go Auburn, the other SEC host, which is crazy. It's just Auburn and Arkansas that are hosting super regionals.
There are 4 games. Go ahead, Kelly.
Well, I think the one that's intriguing is we had the young man on yesterday at Duke. They're playing Murray State. Like, I'm just not like, how do you, like, if you're Duke, you know that, you know, just like yesterday when you were asking the kid, like, you didn't think it was going to be Murray State. And like, how do you get, if you're their coach, how do you get them to focus? Because Murray State's a good baseball team, and you can't take anything for granted, but it's human nature to, you know, they're kind of not in your league. They've already gone to the Ole Miss regional and beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss didn't think so either. So like there's going to be a lot of pressure on Duke because they're expected to win the super regional and go to the College World Series. So that's a little added pressure. And now, just like you talked about, George, if Murray State gets up on them early, there's going to be some tightening going on, not only in on the field but in the stands.
Okay, see if you buy this. Duke was finished on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were home by Monday night, and every last one of them watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them saw that Murray State can flat out hit.
Yeah.
They've got some offense. Now, what level of pitching they have, I don't know. But what did they score in that final game? Was it 13?
Yeah, they had 19 hits.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some offense. If that didn't get Duke's attention,
yeah,
shame on them.
The super regional format is different. You got to win 2 games, and you can set your pitching up differently. You know, like Ole Miss in their regional, they lost by 2 to Murray, and that really messed them up in that regional because they got way behind with their pitching staff. But for Duke, the last time they made it to Omaha, I knew it was forever. 1961.
Really?
Is what I'm seeing. So there's gonna be some pressure, but I think if you're Duke, you're glad to be hosting and you know, probably glad you got Murray State.
So tomorrow is Arizona, North Carolina at noon, Nashville time. Miami, Louisville at 3. Florida State at Oregon State at 6. Coastal at Auburn at 9 o'clock. A little late.
Eastern. That's
are Eastern time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 11, 2, 5, and 8.
Yep.
Now, punch up Saturday. So Saturday they all play. Tennessee plays at, am I right, 5 o'clock?
4. So
4.
Yeah. So Tennessee at 4. Louisville, Miami actually at 10 o'clock to start the day on ESPN.
Get up early.
Yeah, so they're going on ESPN Saturday. They're going 10 a.m., 1 p.m., it looks like, and then 4 p.m.
Yeah, it's a bunch of
yeah.
There's a bunch of it. I just want to see, for me, I want to see what level of good Murray State really is. I mean, to win that regional, which nobody saw coming, is amazing. And the pressure that they were under in the last 3 innings and to not cave to it, man, I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's a good coach, a good young coach. They can hit the baseball. I'll be interested to see with this super regional round, does the pressure continue to heat up on these home teams? Like, does Duke start to feel the pressure and do they cave? Arkansas, do they feel the pressure and cave to Tennessee? LSU as well. Louisville has Miami at home. You don't want to have to play a team from your conference at home, I don't think, in a super. Sometimes it happens that way. But, North Carolina's at home against Arizona. I'll be interested to see if the pressure carries over.
Has Tennessee announced Liam Doyle for game 1?
I thought I saw that today. I'm not positive. I don't think they've announced anything yet.
Because the pressure will be on them. Whatever game he pitches, they got to win, period.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today. I would go Marcus Phillips, and if you win that game, go Doyle game 2. But if you lose, you'd probably go Doyle game 2 anyway. If you win or lose, but you have the freedom to set it up. If you have confidence, if you win, you could maybe save him for Monday, so you can play around a little bit.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to try to make you some money. Plaster Bet of the Day is next on 94.9 The Fan.
Can't watch the race? We got you.
I can't believe it.
NASCAR lives on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Whether it's 102.5 The Game, 94.9 The Fan, or Sports Talk 830, you can hear it all. Just check theGameNashville.com for the full schedule. NASCAR lives here. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's Family Leisure's Ultimate Pool Party Sale.
That's right. Join the Ultimate Pool Party.
Huge savings on above-ground pools. 24-foot pools start at $29.99. That's with free installation.
Now we can have that pool party for the family. Of course, now is the time for some new patio furniture, 30 to 70% off. Hundreds of sets on display and on sale.
Let's not forget, Family Leisure spas are on sale for our own little Ultimate Pool Party. Right now, spas start at only $29.99.
And when the party moves indoors, Family Leisure has sale prices on pool tables and shuffleboards starting at just $19.99.
Family Leisure has the largest selection of indoor and outdoor saunas on sale starting at only $19.99.
Massage chairs and theater seating are on sale as well.
That's Family Leisure's Ultimate Pool Party Sale.
That's Family Leisure, 2 huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
NBA Finals, Game 1, Pacers, Thunder in Oklahoma City tonight. We'll see where George is going. It's all brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Take a look. It's been a little inconsistent this week. We got loss, win, loss, win. I think that's what we're looking at.
It's called gambling.
Oh, I'm just stating the facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
But
I'm trying to be a little smart aleck, George.
Yeah, but let me also say this. You don't see me quitting.
I'm sure you've quit on the golf course.
I'm not leaving.
Billy, once a quitter, always a quitter.
Normally, I'll quit after 9.
I mean,
you just don't pay for 18.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So here goes. I got the inference there, Kelly. So the NBA Finals begin tonight. And while I'm going to take Oklahoma City minus the 9.5 tonight, I'm also going to turn around and talk out of both sides of my mouth and say, this is not going to be what some people are putting out there, that OKC is just going to walk through Indiana. This one's going 6. This will be a good series. The Indiana Pacers are a really good basketball team, and they're being undersold nationally as though Oklahoma City couldn't possibly be beaten. Be careful.
George, you think you're Nostradamus or something, man? You said the NHL is going 7, and now the NBA is going 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, look, these people that are saying this is going to be a sweep, please, it's not.
I'm with you on that.
Indiana's pretty good.
I agree.
I
agree. They could be around for a while, too.
Yeah, these are 2 really talented teams. Kelly, you will not be with us tomorrow. Billy, any thoughts there before we send him packing?
Thank goodness. I get to play some golf tomorrow, too.
Well, that's wonderful.
You do. Are you going to bring your clubs? Or are you going to have to go get some from the pro shop?
No, I'm going to bring
clown.
my clubs.
They're going to quit on the 12th hole. Okay, we've had some fun at Young Williams' expense today. We'll be with you again tomorrow from X Golf in the grand opening in Franklin. See you then.